Welcome into HQ Spotlight. Our former NFL general manager, Rand Carthon, here at the desk with us. She's Jacqueline D'Agostino. I'm Emily Proud, and this is our handy-dandy Monday water cooler. We know you've been talking all day long around this thing, trying to figure out what happened in the NFL, what happened in college football. But I do have to tell you, if anybody gets thirsty, we actually don't have any water in this. We in the biz call this a prop.
I literally just asked Emily before we started the show, like, hey, if I feel a little parched, can I move forward with our handy-dandy water cooler?
They didn't trust us around all this technology.
It's understandable. It really is. But we'll just stay on theme, and we're going to have Water Cooler Monday, sans water. It's fine. And we have to talk about the Bengals, because that is the big news of the day, right, with Joe Burrow. Emily is going to fill, if you will, the Bengals cup. I have to hand it over to you, Rand, because the water cooler talk with the Bengals is, of course, around Joe Burrow. Give it a nice little switch around there. Bengals are 2-0, but it's not without, of course, some bad news for Joe Burrow. He's missing at least 3 months, has to get surgery, dealing with turf toe and all of that. Is there enough around the Bengals to where, if they do go out and get a Kirk Cousins, or reunion with an Andy Dalton, if you will, if they do that, is there enough there to keep them afloat for at least 3 months in your eyes?
I believe so.
Okay.
And I'm going to go opposite of what everyone is saying. Their season's over. There's no Joe Burrow. Partially true, right? God only made so many Joe Burrows and guys with that type of talent and ability. And so, no, they're not going to have that. But Jake Browning is 4-3 as a starter. And he has enough talent around him on the offensive side of the ball, particularly with Jamar Chase, Mike Gesicki, T. Higgins, to win these games. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to win the division, because I don't think they win the division if Joe Burrow was healthy. However, I think that they could be in contention as a 7, 8, 9 win team when that early December time comes, because, again, they have the weapons around. Now, what they're going to have to do to improve is they're going to have to run the football to give Jake Browning an opportunity to make high percentage throws and have a threat of the run game. They only ran the ball, I believe, 17 times yesterday. And so it put it all on Jake Browning, and you just can't do that right now. Now, I don't know that there is a player on the street that's going to come and save their season. The Bengals organization, they struggle to want to pay their own guys. So they're not going to go and get a Kirk Cousins and take on that salary, knowing what you're already paying Joe Burrow, because that money still stays on your books for the year. So their best bet right now is to go with a Jake Browning until you get closer to the trade deadline, and now you can gauge where your season is going and see what's available to you at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, and to your credit about the experience of Jake Browning, I think Jamar Chase even said after the game, we know Jake, we trust Jake. We've been in this situation before back in 2023 when Joe Burrow left the season with a wrist injury. So they've done it with him before, but their ceiling obviously is going to change a little bit this season. Ceiling is through the roof for the Bills. I mean, it was they had some late magic. Oh, I forgot about this. We're talking about the
we got to get the
They had some late game magic in week 1, but week 2, a nice, easy win.
She poured a shot on
She did.
The Jets. What impressed you most about this, we'll call it nice, calm, easy win compared to week 1 for the Bills?
I mean, the Bills, they just win football games, right? And I think they are a complete team that don't care how they win. They just want to win football games. And we know what Josh Allen is, and Josh Allen is playing up to the level of an MVP, right? And he's going to be a guy that later on in the year we're going to be talking about potentially as a back-to-back MVP winner. But again, now the young guys are growing and are stepping up. You see here Keon Coleman. Guys like this are growing, and they're getting opportunities, and they're making the most of it. And so this team is well positioned to continue on this pace. And they're going to have some tough games coming up here soon, but they're winning the games that they're supposed to win, how they're supposed to win them.
Yeah, we're all expecting guys, to your point, like Keon Coleman, to kind of take that step forward here whenever, your quarterback is Josh Allen. It makes it that much easier.
It does.
All right, the next water cooler topic, and we have experienced that as our studios are in South Florida here. You'll take a shot of the Miami
Water's
Dolphins.
a little iffy.
Water. I don't really know if you want to. I don't know if you want to
to
sip the Dolphins Kool-Aid here, because it's not been great. 0-2, they get a really bad Week 1 loss against the Colts. They lose a winnable game at home to the Patriots. So in your eyes, how much hotter is that seat for head coach Mike McDaniel at this point?
I think this is a hard one, right? This is a hard one because I truly feel like the noise is us and not necessarily in the building from the front office standpoint, right? I don't know what's being said in the locker room. I don't know what's being said in the front office. However, this team, they are where they are, right? And they've earned to be where they are, you know, and that's not a good thing. You know, however, you got a short week this week, and you have Buffalo, and I don't think anyone expects them to win that game. And so I don't think the seat is any hotter than it was coming into the week. Now, for the Dolphins organization, for these players, regardless of whether the fans want to fire Greer, fire McDaniel, the players now have to step up and determine what they want to play for. And they should be wanting to play for each other, which is the most important thing that you could want for your locker room.
A little worried about the status of that water, but I am drinking the Colts Kool-Aid now. I don't know about you, Rand. I don't know if you want to take a drink as well, because things are looking good for the Indianapolis Colts. What should we think of this team in terms of postseason, division, playoffs? How do we evaluate the Colts?
Well, they're playing great ball. I mean, you have to give them their props and their credit. And Daniel Jones is probably playing as good as ball as he's played, you know, throughout his career at this point. For myself, personally, I want to see it carry for another week before we start to really start this conversation if they're the best team in the AFC South. And we'll get to see a team in the AFC South play tonight in the Houston Texans, where we'll really be able to see where they are. Now, this team, they're playing complete football. And Daniel Jones is in a situation where he doesn't have to win the game by himself. He has a ton of weapons around him in the passing game. He has one of the top 5 running backs in the backfield, arguably one of the top 2 offensive lines in front of him. And this defense is playing ball as well. And they came into the game yesterday with a banged-up secondary. Yeah. And so now they got to go on the road. They have to play in Tennessee. And the Titans aren't laying down. And so this is going to be a true test for where they are, because that Titans defense is going to come ready to play and ready to stop this offense. And let's just see if they're up for the task.
You know, we keep saying we got to see it for another week, but there's already graphics out there.
Right? I was looking at that. Like, are we just going to gloss over the fact that we're doing side-by-side comparisons of Peyton Manning and Daniel Jones? We're doing it, though.
No pressure, Danny Dimes. Like, it's right there.
You know, and I will say before we move on, the pressure that he faced as a starting quarterback in the New York market versus the pressure in Indianapolis is completely different. I think I'll say we because we're in the media, we pushed him into that category of that he had to win a game for him just because of the market he was in, versus now in Indianapolis. I think the way that city is constructed and that fan base is, they know it's not all on him, that the other guys around him have to step up.
Yeah, the vibes are certainly different. I also just want to say I'm taking my role as like the passer of the water cup very, very seriously.
You haven't spilled yet, so.
Okay, next up, we're going to talk about the Browns, an 0-2 team here, and it was just not a good look at all against the Ravens. I think we were kind of expecting this, if you will, against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. But what is, Rand, you are scared. There's no water in there, and I knew it, and I'm still freaking out. Oh my goodness. What is next for the Browns here? Because, you know, they're sticking with Joe Flacco, but I just don't know if it can get any better.
Well, I'll say this, regardless of whether Joe Flacco was playing well or not, at some point in this season, you have to see what Dylan Gabriel is and or Shedeur Sanders. Because the Browns are sitting there in next year's draft class. They have 2 first-round picks in the 2026 draft, and this is seen as a deep quarterback draft class. Now, I don't know if there's any top-tier guys, like a Cam Ward, you know, type of guy in this class, but you have the ammunition to be able to move up to get one of these guys. And in order for you to do that, you have to know what's already in your building. Joe Flacco isn't going to be a part of their future. Right? I think we all know that. I think his job was to come in and get them through this season until they can see what they have, and the only way to do that is by letting these guys play. And I think they're in a position now, you're already 0-2. The season isn't going to get much worse. I mean, the only thing you want to try to do is make sure that you don't go winless. But again, this team, like, because this defense is really good. This defense is really good, and they have a really good defensive scheme. Now you just got to get the offense caught up. But at some point, we need to see what these young guys have.
I just can't imagine they load up on quarterbacks, and if none of them really pan out, then they go back to the draft to then go get another young quarterback. Like, I feel like the fan base is going to just...
You just got to keep swinging.
Yeah, I guess.
You got to keep swinging, and at some point, I'll say this. and this may not be the perfect way to describe it, but I'll say this: a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, but have you seen that infamous Browns jersey with all of the names of the quarterbacks through the years?
Yes.
It's many.
It's many.
Throwing.
But you have to keep swinging because you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because it's considered the most important position in our game. And the only way to solve it is by adding players. Because the jersey goes, it's not just based off a draft, it's them signing guys and guys are getting in there. So whether you address it via the draft or free agency, you got to address it. And it's always better to do it via the draft because it doesn't cost you as much.
Yeah, it's a very important position as well. On the other side of this game, though, how about the Ravens? I know I'm drinking from the same cup here, but this water's been treated, and it tastes really good, and I wish I had 4 cups because that's how many touchdowns Lamar Jackson threw.
We cannot
What'd you
drop
think
this
of that yesterday?
I mean, it's Lamar doing Lamar things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Lamar's outstanding. Lamar's an outstanding player. I think he ushered in this new wave of the quote-unquote dual threat quarterback, right? Because there was a time where a quarterback with Lamar's skill set, they would almost force you in your second year to play more from the pocket, right? Not even realizing that you're negating what's keeping the defensive coordinator up at night. You trying to keep a talent like that in the pocket allows the defensive coordinator to get rest at night. But Lamar, playing the way he is, playing out of his mind. I mean, look at this graphic. Like, he only had 13 yards rushing. And most of the time you think about Lamar having a great game is with his legs and on the ground. But he beat you with his arm. And then you turn around and he has this grown man in the backfield and in Derrick Henry. And then you have the weapons around. DeAndre Hopkins seems to have found, the fountain of youth. And I think there was a quote out there saying that I guess they caught him on the sideline. Oh, I guess they thought I was washed up. Mm-hmm. And he had his 2 touchdowns. The problem for Baltimore has been winning the big game late. And I think now adding a DeAndre Hopkins and those type of sure-handed guys, you have the guys around Lamar that can make the play when the team needs it.
I love it. Now that Rand is nice and well hydrated, we'll let you go take a bathroom break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the NFC later. But let's remind you of what the odds to win the AFC look like right now. The Bills, no shock there, up at the top. The Ravens, of course, that tight game in Week 1. Those teams really neck and neck in the race. And the 0-2 Chiefs coming in at number 3. But, man, there's still a lot of football left to be played.
All right, we're going to talk about the NFC side of things because the Chiefs are 0-2 because of the Eagles. So we are going to talk about the defending Super Bowl champs. And if we still have any doubts, we'll tell you coming up. Back here on HQ Spotlight, the Super Bowl rematch with the Eagles and the Chiefs lived up to the hype. And unfortunately for the Chiefs, the outcome was the same as the Super Bowl, with the Eagles winning it 20-17. The Chiefs, by the way, 0-2 for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era, and the Eagles came up big with an interception when they needed it the most to seal the deal. The Chiefs are the 6th team to start 0-2 after winning at least 14 games the previous season, and the previous 4 teams all missed the playoffs. I can't imagine a world where the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid are not in the playoffs, but that could be what is ahead. This is all water cooler talk. It's Water Cooler Monday. Rand Carthon is here with us. Emily Proud and this famous water cooler is with us as well in the room. We're going to talk about the Eagles. Oh, I don't mean to skip the water cooler, and it's very, very prominent role.
This is good. This is good water. This is crisp, just like last year.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if you had any doubts about the Eagles and any of that, but your biggest takeaways from the Eagles here with their performance against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes.
This is good alkaline water.
There we go.
This is good alkaline water.
That's good for you.
I'll pose a question to you guys.
Ooh.
Okay.
If I told you after or leading up to the game that Jalen Hurts would only throw for 101 yards and that the Eagles would only have 216 total yards, would you have thought they won?
I would, because they have this guy named Saquon Barkley.
But 216 total yards.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I guess total yards, no, maybe. If it was the inverse with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, I might have said, whatever, they're going to find a way to win. I trust it.
And see, I say that because Jalen Hurts hadn't thrown for over 152 yards this entire season. And I say entire season, it's only been 2 weeks. But this Philadelphia Eagles team just wins games, right? No matter how, if we need to give Saquon the ball 40 times and we win, cool. We just want to win games. And I think that's what you're seeing from this team. They spread the ball around. Any given Sunday, any guy can be the hot guy, can be the go-to guy, and that's the mark of a good championship football team. We're not here for the stats. We're not here for all of that. We're just here to get the dubs, to get the wins, and that's what they continue to do. To me, in my opinion, this is the best from top to bottom roster in the entire league.
Okay.
I like it. Hard pivot now to the Panthers. Water did not start off great in this game, but it got a little bit better. What about Bryce Young's performance? He is 1-14 on the road, which is not ideal. But what about his performance was encouraging, and what about it was concerning?
I'll say this. They finished strong, and they had a chance to win the game. And you can point to a few different reasons as to why they didn't win this game late. But they could have very well laid down because they have been in this position a ton of times where it's late in the game, they're down, and things aren't going their way, right? They could have laid down, and it could have been the mentality, oh, here we go again. But they showed the ability to fight back. Now, I'm not saying that things are going to turn around and they're going to pick up, but they have something to at least build upon. I mean, look at the rookie, Ted McMillan. Had his first 100-yard game. It was a homecoming for him. He was back in Arizona, had a chance to probably play in front of tons of families and friends. But they should be encouraged and gives them something to hold a little hope. I know hope isn't hope. I'll say this: hope is a strong emotion.
Yes, not
right. It's a strong emotion, and so they have something to build upon. Still got a long way to go, but the way they finished or almost finished should be encouraging for them.
All right, and it's funny how things change so quickly from week to week, because I think our lower for the Lions after week one was have the Lions lost their roar. That's what we were saying after week one.
Hold on, there's enough water in this. I'm just going to keep filling.
Okay, because that's
the Lions get
Cup runneth over.
Yeah, exactly. The cup runneth over for the Lions.
Going for it on fourth
because they're just looking outstanding, scoring 50 plus
50 burger
in their week two matchup. What does it say about this team that they've been able to bounce back in that way?
They're a good championship type roster, right? Week one was what it was, right? And I said last week, just in terms of new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator as well, but he has to learn how to get through a flow of a game with Jared Goff, with the other guys on the team. And you saw yesterday that John Morton came out, called the best game of his life, had over 500 yards of total offense, put 50 points up on the board. And the best part of it all was that he was able to beat his former boss, Ben Johnson.
Yep.
And walk away, from it with a big dub. And it was so cool to see those moments where they just kept racking up points. I played for Steve Spurrier. And Spurrier's number one thing was, it's not my job to stop me. And as long as there's time on the clock and we have 11 guys on the field, I'm trying to score points. It wasn't their job to stop themselves, and they just kept scoring. And here's the thing. They did it last year with Ben Johnson. And so now he just so happened to be on the other side of it. Hey, man, and I said this on a previous show, hey, the rabbit had the gun yesterday. And so it's not as fun when the rabbit has the gun.
I seem to be clicking well with John Morton, too, and the new offensive coordinator. On the other side of things, though, where there's good water, there is also some tough to swallow here with the Chicago Bears. Where is your concern level when it comes to these Bears? Ben Johnson told us we're not going to be a finished product in September, but should the product be a little bit better by now?
I mean, look, in this kind of looks like the St. Patrick's Day water.
Oh, don't little off the screen.
No,
don't drink it.
Should there be concern? There should be, right? Because the way you've rebuilt this offense was particularly to make sure that Caleb is successful. You go out and you get the most coveted coaching candidate who is seen as an offensive guru to make your number one overall pick the right pick, especially considering how some of the other quarterbacks from his draft class has played, and you still have not been able to turn their corner. There is enough on this offense for them to put up points and be able to win games. Now, I still personally think that they should address the backfield situation, because hidden in what made Detroit so good was their tandem that they had in the backfield with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and you don't quite have that in Chicago as of now. And so should there be some concern? Yes. Ben Johnson has to figure out a way to get this offense going and find what really works for Caleb. Because no matter what your offensive system is as a play caller, whether it's a defensive play caller or offensive play caller, you have to tailor it to what you have. And if you don't have all the pieces to run your offense or your system, then now you need to tailor it to those players, and they have to figure out what works best for Caleb.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, the water here is just going from bad to worse, because we got to cap this segment off talking about the New Orleans Saints. 0-2, I don't necessarily think this is super shocking information when we look at the roster that is in place. But what is next in the Kellen Moore era here as they're starting off kind of how we expected for this team?
I'll just say this, and I think everyone nationally had low hopes for this Saints team. And to me, you just have to ride this year out. You knew coming into the year this was going to be a tough year. I think through 2 weeks we've seen that it's been, and they put up a fight.
Yeah.
You know, Spencer Rattler did everything in his power to keep this team in the game, and there were some key stops that were needed on defense that didn't quite happen. And so it's unfortunate for a first-year head coach. This is what you have to go through.
Yeah.
But this is a part of the transition in taking over a franchise that's been down for a while. So you just got to weather the storm. You see here with the schedule, you got the Seahawks, the Bills, the Giants, the Patriots, the Bears, the Bucks, the Rams. There's no chill in sight, you know, right
go
now.
to the Bills and Giants.
The best chill comes week 11, which is the bye week. And now you know you only have so much time left in the season before it's all over and done. But yes, just one of those years where you just got to ride it out.
Yeah, but it's funny you say that because my eyes immediately went to Panthers bye week right there on the right side of the screen. Just looking
get me there.
Just get us there. Ran, we appreciate it. Water cooler, we appreciate you hanging out with us here. Ran, I wish I could just wax poetic and listen to you talk about your time playing with Steve Spurrier, but I'm gonna
the good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. I'm gonna have to talk to Ryan Wilson and pitch for an entire podcast about that, because that would be.
I do a Spurrier impersonation too.
Oh.
We'll save that for the podcast.
Oh, we don't want to hit it right now live? Okay. In the meantime, we're going to look at the odds to win the NFC, and the defending Super Bowl champs, they're right there at the top at plus 330, but the 2-0 Packers are not far behind at plus 350, and we go all the way down to the Vikings on the right side of your screen at 17-1. All right, we're going to switch back to the AFC and talk about the Bengals. They're 2-0, but they're going to try to keep it rolling without Joe Burrow. Logan Ryan, Tiffany Blackman, they were on the broadcast team, and we are getting their perspective coming up ahead.